Hi, you guys. It's me, Mariah. Hello. How are you? This is your first time seeing my face. Hello. So, first things first, I hope everyone had a great weekend. Mine was okay. Everything could always be better. That's why we work on ourselves. Whatever. So, we're just going to get right into it. Have you heard about Jake Paul's right-hand man, or what some people might claim is like one of his best friends? Let's talk about him. His name is Arman Azadi, and he is a human trafficker. And I say that in the most politically correct way. So let's get into it. Arman Azadi lured women into his prostitution ring with promises of immense wealth, his companionship, and most of all, his protection, Las Vegas police say. Now, let me just stop right there, because this is the same guy that officiated, not Logan, so sorry, Jake Paul and Tana Mojo's wedding. He was the officiator, right? At that graffiti mansion, the pink mansion, that's his. Let's continue. The suspected pimp, who police say earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from sex workers trolling high-priced Las Vegas nightclubs, did little to guard the women who made him rich. Police said Azadi, 28, used charm to attract women to his business and intimidation to keep them, viciously beating them if they tried to leave. And granted, this is an old article. This was in 2013, okay? So this is just me reading a Las Vegas article about him that was posted a few years back, just so you can have a reference of who this man is that is around Jake Paul, also around other influencers on a daily basis, one of which being probably Tana, considering how they are describing him as Jake Paul's best friend. Azadi was arrested Wednesday morning when police and IRS agents raided his home at the Sky Las Vegas complex, where he lived in a swanky condo overlooking the Strip. Details of his activities were outlined in a Las Vegas police report. The case against Azadi began in December, when one of his former prostitutes, authorities said, told police she had been tortured after she tried to leave him in the sex industry. The woman said she met Azadi at XS nightclub at Encore last year. Azadi claimed to be a special promotions casino host, but his real money came from pimping, police said. After befriending the woman over the span of a few months, Azadi suggested she could pay her law school tuition by turning tricks. The woman agreed, and even when Azadi didn't set up her appointments, she found her own clients in the city's vast nightclub scene. She told police she made more than $20,000 around the busy Halloween weekend last year, not long after becoming a prostitute. But her income soon slowed, and in a few months she grew tired of her lifestyle. It didn't help that Azadi was becoming aggressive and constantly demeaned her. When the woman tried to break away, Azadi became enraged and drove her to a bank where he forced her to withdraw a $5,000 tax, she told police. In the least $1 million Las Vegas country club penthouse where she lived with Azadi and several other women, she said he tortured her for more than an hour. She told police Azadi bound her hands and trapped her in a walk-in shower where he beat, choked, and scalded her with hot water. Azadi also placed a towel on her face and sprayed water on her, a form of torture called waterboarding. When she started to black out, he would slap her awake. Azadi later dragged the woman to the penthouse balcony and forced her onto the ledge at knife point. He threatened to throw her to her death before dragging her back inside the home and spanking her with a wooden paddle. He then dragged the knife across her body, causing a 5-inch cut on her thigh. The cut and bruises were still visible days later when she met with detectives. The torture ended after the woman offered to get a tattoo in Azadi's honor. She said the pimp drove her to a parlor where Azadi's name, Infasari, was inked on her neck. She fled later that night after Azadi left the penthouse for food. Wednesday's raid on Azadi's home came more than 4 months later. The raid involved at least 2 condos at Sky Las Vegas. 2 women found at the condo complex confirmed Azadi's violent history. One woman said she earned about $50,000 for Azadi. The other said she made about $100,000. It's unclear whether they were charged with any crimes. The police booked Azadi on a long list of charges, including prostitution crimes, kidnapping, domestic battery, extortion, and coercion. The charges pending against Azadi are his first related to prostitution, but he has a criminal record in Las Vegas. In October, Azadi pleaded guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm after he beat a man he engaged to shoot a music video, court records show. He was placed on probation in order to pay $30,000 in restitution to his victim within 90 days of the guilty plea. In addition to living in luxury homes, Azadi drove a Cadillac Escalade and a black Bentley. The Bentley's personalized license plate said, "Shh." So, that's just the beginning. So knowing all of this information, right, that I just went over with you guys, why would someone like Jake Paul want to be friends with someone like that? Now, granted, like I always say, I don't know these people in real life, but think about all of the women that surround Jake Paul and also are still surrounding him. Because when that raid happened with Jake Paul, that graffiti mansion was raided at the same time. Let's talk about that. So on Azadi's Instagram story, this is what he had to say about his home being raided, because Jake Paul was actually out of state at the time of his home being raided. For those of you that don't remember, the FBI came and raided Jake Paul's home. And he was out of state at the time. So he was not there at the home when it was raided. But Azadi was at the Las Vegas graffiti home. So, on his Instagram story, he said, "Well, I had a rough morning, but we're going to try to finish the day right over here." He has more than 1 million followers. I get it, you guys are really concerned about the raid that went down at my house. Meanwhile, we've got a mansion to paint. The Barbies are here and we've got expletive work to do, he said in the video. Now, the Barbies, as you just heard from me saying that this man is a human trafficker, he now has other women that surround him that he calls the Barbies. He has these women that he's having paint this mansion. Let me continue. The Instagram story then shows about 12 women shaking spray paint cans. Today was just Barbie Mansion. It was going to be our final shoot for painting the house pink, said Richard Ocha, who helps run events at the house. He said they run a legitimate company and rent the house through Airbnb. Ocha was there when FBI agents showed up at their door. They got here about 6 a.m. this morning. We opened the gate to let them come in. They woke the staff with a couple of flashbangs, which was pretty exciting. PA systems. They did a search of the property looking for a certain person that resides in Southern California, referencing Paul. The investigation is linked to the charges against the 2 in Arizona. In May, investigators charged Paul Azadi and another man for looting at Scottsdale's Fashion Square after a protest. But Azadi said on Instagram, "A lot of people talking trash. A lot of people making up things online today. I'm not going to get into any details other than all they wanted to know about was Arizona." Video from local television news helicopters showed agents gathering several rifles from the sprawling property with a boxing ring and a hot tub in the backyard that appears in many of Paul's recent YouTube videos. And yada, yada, yada. Okay? Because I don't care about that. So, what I really want to know is, Why are we surrounding ourselves with a guy who is a known woman beater? Because he's been charged. This isn't allegations. Like, if you go and you research this man, he has had formal criminal charges pressed against him, and three other accounts of women who come forward and said he's done these things. Now you have these 20 women that you pay to paint this graffiti mansion pink that you call your Barbies. And I'm pretty sure the same tactics that this man was using to lure women back in the day, promising them fame and exposure and all of that, he's probably doing to these current women. Keep in mind, this is a guy who is quote unquote an influencer and that has a following online, 1.1 million to be exact. And Jake Paul's one of his friends, which gives him more access to things that some normal people probably wouldn't have access to. Why? I want to know why him and Jake Paul are friends. What role does he serve in this connection, in this friendship? And what does this mean when it comes to the women that surround them too? I'm questioning everything. I want to know. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day or a good rest of your night whenever you watch this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.